Fox News alert to begin happening now on Hurricane Sandy. That storm already slamming Cuba. Now we have brand new tracking, which shows where this massive system might be headed next. And it is not good news for those who live in the northeastern United States. Janice Dean has the latest from the Extreme Weather Center. What's going on, JD?
If this track comes true, it is the worst case scenario, John. Now, we still have days to go and a lot of information to kind of input into this tracking. But right now, this storm looks like it's going to be headed for millions of people. It's going to be a transitioning system, meaning that perfect storm type scenario. A tropical storm that transitions into an extratropical storm because a cold front, a very powerful Arctic cold front, is going to interact with the system and draw it in towards the northeast, a very rare meteorological situation. So this could be historic, folks. If you live across the East Coast, from the mid-Atlantic up to Maine and eastern Canada, you need to be paying very, very close attention to your local forecast. Still a Category 2. We just got the 11 o'clock advisory. It was a Category 3 major hurricane overnight, so it rapidly intensified within hours. Take a look at the latest track. As you can see, Category 2 moving through the Bahamas. It hugs the coast Friday into Saturday, but look at what happens as we head into early next week. The worst case scenario right now, moving right into millions upon millions of people. And this could cause extensive, catastrophic damage. I'm not just standing here making this stuff up. I want people to really pay attention to this because, again, this could be worst case scenario. At any rate, we're dealing with high seas, rip currents, beach erosion, coastal flooding, certainly storm surge as this storm moves on shore. The exact point or location where it's going to move on shore still not known yet, and the exact strength still not known yet. But we are going to see torrential rain and flooding inland. High winds, 60, 80 miles per hour, significant power outages that could last for weeks for millions of people, and down trees, John. We've still got foliage on the trees, and winds in excess of 60, 70, 80 miles per hour is going to cause extensive damage. I just want to show you one of our reliable forecast models. It is really becoming apparent that we are going to be dealing with a system that is going to come onshore, again, anywhere from the mid-Atlantic towards Maine. Need to be paying attention. But, John, our mouths dropped at the latest tracking that shows this system going right into New York City. Obviously, we've got days ahead to really hone in and get this forecast right, but people need to be paying attention. We do think that this storm is going to come on shore, and it's going to cause a lot of damage.
And it's a big, broad storm, too. So even as it skirts up the coast, it's going to be dumping a lot of rain and wind on people. Because it's transitioning into, you know the movie The Perfect Storm? It's a transitioning storm from a tropical to an extratropical. And what that means is the wind span is going to be greater. Winds, tropical storm force winds extending 300, 400 miles from the center of the storm. Wow. It's going to be a battering storm affecting one of the, the largest city in the nation. Wow. Janice Dean, thank you. And I know you'll have more on that throughout the hour. Thank you, Janice.
Hurricane Sandy threatening to blast millions of Americans with rain, snow, and wicked winds. It's an unprecedented superstorm in the offing, and if it happens, it could last for days. Tomorrow, Sandy is off the coast of Florida, Sunday just off North Carolina, and then head on into New York on Tuesday. Our extreme weather team tracking it all tonight, and ABC's meteorologist Ginger Z starts us off from Miami, where they're already seeing signs of what's to come. Ginger?
Diane, the winds have gusted to 50+ miles per hour, and that beast is still over 300 miles away from South Florida. This is just the beginning of our journey with Sandy, the hurricane that could become a superstorm.
Hurricane Sandy crashing through the Caribbean. It exploded in size and strength today as it hit the Bahamas after relentlessly pounding Jamaica. The Category 2 hurricane blasted out winds of over 110 miles per hour and unleashed a staggering 2 feet of rain. Here in Florida, it won't be a direct hit, but more of a sideswipe. Many schools are canceled tomorrow as Sandy approaches.
This is Fort Lauderdale Beach, and it is usually packed, but the only thing being packed up and locked down are these chairs. They expect up to 10-foot waves and deadly rip currents up and down the Florida coast.
But the real danger is farther north when Sandy collides with a cold weather system, a merger that could create a superstorm.
We don't normally see storms move this way.
That's why it's being called a billion-dollar storm. That's billion with a B, capable of causing more damage than Hurricane Irene last year. The height of the storm should be Tuesday, and it will take its sweet time making an exit, churning in the atmosphere over the same spots for 5 or even 6 days. Now, depending on where you live, it may bring up to 6 inches of rain, 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, 20 to 30-foot high seas, and extreme coastal flooding. It's all during a full moon, too, when tides are even higher. It could even bring half a foot of heavy wet snow as far inland as Ohio.
60% chance that Sandy will hit us.
That's why East Coast emergency management teams are gearing up, and extra help is being brought in from other states.
Emergency officials up and down the East Coast are warning people that you can't wait. You have to get your emergency kits and emergency plans in place now. Diane?
Ginger, thank you so much. And now ABC's weather editor, Sam Champion, is here. Show us these giant forces of nature about to collide, Sam.
Superstorm, monster storm. This one has 3 ingredients, Diane, so let's run through them. First of all, you've got Sandy. That's ingredient number 1. The hurricane normally needs warm tropical waters to thrive. This one's moving fast, and it's dragging its tropical moisture with it. Second ingredient, look at the northern part of that screen, that upper left-hand side, that cold air. This is the clash of Arctic air and tropical air. Together, it's an intense clash that will deliver an awful lot of energy infusion into that storm. It's no longer a tropical system at that point. It's a hybrid storm, but it's a powerful one. And see that line, the jet stream right there? Right. It's this ribbon of air that goes at about 30,000 feet that's always flowing at about more than 100 miles an hour. That this time is curved right over this developing storm, so it actually supercharges, or it's like giving steroids to this storm. It will behave in a monster fashion with intense wind, intense rain.
And lasting a long time. It could last for days.
And last for days. The one thing we've got to watch is where it hits.
Right. So show us the probabilities as of right now.
As of right now, looking at the spaghettis, very little opportunity for this thing to curve out in the Atlantic and miss everyone completely. The real important part here is which line this storm will take. If it hits in D.C., it's a very different conditions for that area than if it hits in New York or Boston. Someone's going to get the worst side of a very bad storm. The thing between now and Monday is to watch us very carefully as we are able to pinpoint more closely where this storm lands.
All the models show it coming in.
It looks that way.